Welcome to the Goodyear City Council meeting. We're excited to have you be a part of this important public process. Tonight, you will have the opportunity to address City Council on both non-agenda and agenda items. The agendas and speaker request cards are located in the back of the council chambers. You must fill out a speaker request card in order to address the City Council. Please drop your completed card in the tray next to the blank speaker cards. If the meeting has already begun, please hand it to the officer. You may check the "I do not wish to speak" option on the card. This allows you to still voice your opinion on an item on the record without having to speak. In accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, please contact a staff member if you need any assistance. Public comment on a non-agenda item will take place during the citizen comment portion of the evening. These are items that don't appear on tonight's formal agenda. The city clerk will call your name when it's time for you to speak. At that time, please approach the podium and tell us your name for the record. You'll have a maximum of 3 minutes. The timer is on the screens visible from the podium. Note that you may also choose not to speak if other speakers before you have said what you wanted to say. Shouting, cheering, and loud noises will not be tolerated, and violators may be removed for disrupting the meeting. Goodyear City Council meetings stream live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and online at goodyearaz.gov. Follow the city's social media pages so you don't miss out on all that's happening in Goodyear. Thank you for coming to this meeting and being an active part of your city. And remember, it's a great time to be in Goodyear.
I'd like to call the regular meeting to order for February 27th, 2023. Let's see, everybody marked present? We all good? All right. Roll call.
All members are present.
All right, we got that going for us. Let's see, please join Councilmember Campbell in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Father, we know that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. Psalms 34:18. And in light of what we have learned from Luke 1:37, we know that God will uphold all of his promises, and we can place our hope in this. As a city, we are so sad over the events of this past week. We ask that you, Lord, comfort those who have lost loved ones and those who are in the hospital. We ask you, Lord, to bless this group gathered here tonight during this meeting as we discuss and deliberate on issues of importance to our city. Help us to be guided by your Spirit. May we be wise in our discernment, balanced in our judgment, fair in our decisions, and visionary in our planning. Though we may at times have different views, may we listen to one another with kindness and be guided by our common goals. May we always be mindful in our words and our actions of what is best for our city. We ask for a hedge of protection, Lord, on all of our first responders, on our police, on our fire, and for our military serving here and abroad. And we thank you for the many, many blessings that you continue to bestow upon our wonderful city. We ask these things in thy most holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Wally. Now it's time for citizens who would like to address the City Council on any non-agenda items within the jurisdiction of Goodyear City Council. Any speaker cards?
Yes, Mayor, we have Mike Goodwin.
Okay, come on up. And Mike, the council will listen to comments and take any of the final actions, respond to criticisms, request that staff investigate, report the matter, request that the matter be scheduled on a future agenda. You got 3 minutes, and you'll see a light there to give you the 20-second count will pop up, I believe, on the screen there, right? It'll pop up on the screen. So go ahead and state your name and address and Floor is yours.
Yes, Mike Goodwin. So thank you for the opportunity to speak here. So I'm at 1200 North Bullard Avenue. So that's the Snyder's Lance factory pretzel over here, or pretzel factory. So we're part of the Campbell Soup Network. So if you guys have driven past that, you might see that that's a pretty busy intersection there. So I'm actually here today to talk about that traffic light. So we actually have 250 employees there that are constantly going in and out of the facility. We're a 24/7 operation. We have about 25 truckloads of product that's going out, raw materials that are coming in every day, and that traffic light hasn't been activated. A couple of weeks ago, on February 16th, one of the employees at our plant was leaving the facility and had a collision with a vehicle that was coming south on Bullard. The vehicle that hit that, the vehicle that was leaving our facility flipped over and ended up on its side, off the side of the road, just south of the entrance to the plant. The individual from our plant broke a wrist. I have pictures of the incident that I could share with you guys, but it's more about what could happen in the future as well, and the near misses that we had in the past. I mean, I'm sure you guys have loved ones. You have, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, kids. I myself have a kid that's going to get his driver's license this year, and I think about all the coaching that I've done with him, how to be safe while he's driving, and how many different intersections am I going to send him through where there should have been a light that was activated when it wasn't, and there's something that's completely outside of his control. Again, we just want your help in activating that. We have also Amazon, FedEx, and UPS that are down on Bullard as well. Those are going to be increasing the traffic on Bullard. We also have spring training in the next couple of months. That's going to be increasing the amount of traffic over there. There's technology out there, as you guys know, with timers on lights, motion detectors. This technology has been around for 10 to 20 years. We could implement that right there and not cause any backup of traffic at that light. It would be the first light when you turn south onto Bullard from the I-10. So a lot of in and out there, and just good opportunity for us all to work together, keep the employees of the plant there safe, keep the truck drivers safe, and to keep everybody's traveling up and down Bullard safe. So, just appreciate you guys' time and hearing us out on that.
Thank you. Could somebody grab information from him and have staff get back to him? The city manager?
Mayor, I have his information.
You have the information? Okay. How'll that work, Wynette? We'll just, you give it to, right there? Okay, all right.
Talk to Chris Bridges too.
Yeah. We'll get somebody to talk to you over there. See the gentleman right there that's getting up.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate it, guys.
welcome. Anybody else?
Mayor, that's it.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay,
You know the drill, so go
I
ahead.
do. Good evening, Mayor Pizzillo and members of the council. My name is Jennifer Barber, and I've been a resident of Estrella for 18 years. First, I want to send my heartfelt condolences to all of those who were affected by the senseless cycling tragedy on Saturday. Today at the press conference, I had an opportunity to speak with a few of the cyclists, and it's clear that there's a long road to recovery ahead. In speaking with Fire Chief Louisi, it appears one of the 2 fire stations in Estrella was able to get to the scene quickly. The cyclists were very impressed with the response times and the aid rendered. I think it's a testament to prioritizing safety services here in Goodyear. Finding the funding to fast-track that second station in Estrella was huge, and it paid off. At one point, that second station wasn't even supposed to be operational until 2025. Lives may have been saved because of you, and I thank you so much for getting that done. Goodyear is a destination for hiking and biking enthusiasts from all around the world. The beautiful trails that we have, developers now make sure that they have these paths in their communities. But at the state level, there are 3 bills that may hurt that and put a bigger burden on you to find the funding. Senate Bill 1697 would reject any federal funds for highways and state routes requiring ADOT to construct walking and cycling paths. Senate Bill 1313 removes the bike element from all general plans, and as you know, right now we're working on a general plan. Senate Bill 1122 changes all the county sales tax funding rules that may even take that opportunity away from you to be able to build these. These bills put the burden on you to come up with the funding for all biking and hiking and all the things that we love here in Goodyear. Finally, I know that when you get your staff reports, you have the information in those reports about fire, police, water, and wastewater, but I'm asking you to also include any kind of environmental impacts. I've been working on a couple of different stories, and I've been finding out from around the country that cities have stopped doing mega buildings of any warehouses because of the toxins coming from diesel fuels. The city of Goodyear has no hard rule, no hard zoning law about how close you can put a warehouse or industrial to schools, homes, apartments, or even your own city buildings, such as the police station. I know your job is very, very complicated. I appreciate everything that you do. Goodyear is growing and you have a lot of challenges ahead. But just a special thank you to police and fire, and thank you for making that funding happen. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you bringing those bills. I was unaware of those bills down there, and I passed it on to our intergovernmental relations person. So we'll be taking a look at that. But I can tell you where you can really help us on some of these things is there's constant bills down there trying to take funding away from us, which impacts what you're was praising tonight as far as police and fire. So keep your eye out for those as well.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
No, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Let's see what else we got here. City Clerk, please read the consent agenda.
Number 1, approval of minutes. Number 2, recognize the City Council subcommittee appointments. Number 3, approve expenditure up to $584,200 for the purchase and installation of an aeration blower at the Goodyear Water Reclamation Facility. Number 4, approve the final plat for Citrus Park Phase 2B. Number 5, authorize the expenditure of design funds for approved fiscal year 2023 CIP project for number 42026, Estrella Parkway and Bridge Project.
Does anybody on the council wish to remove an item from the consent? Seeing none, can I get a motion and a second? I see a motion and a second on the board. Let's see, go ahead and open the voting. Passes 7-0. Thank you. There's one public hearing on the agenda tonight. The public hearing item is to consider the rezoning of approximately 152 acres located at the east of Bullard Avenue along McDowell Road of a planning area development PAD district by adopting GSQ Regional Center Pad. Let's go ahead and open the public hearing. If you would there, introduce yourself to the public.
Good evening, Mayor Pizzillo and City Council. My name is Christian Williams. I'm a principal planner here with the city. And I'm here before you this evening with a request from Ed Bull, Brian Greathouse, and Globe Corporation to request a rezoning on 152 acres within the city. The 152-acre property we will be discussing today is in this red box right here. It's actually 2 boxes for it with the star right there. It is located in North Goodyear within the village center, commonly referred to as Estrella Falls. It is located on McDowell Road, west of Bullard Avenue, and the property currently falls within a PAD that contemplates commercial and residential uses. So zooming in a little bit closer to the site, these are those 2 sites right here. It's on both sides of McDowell Road, generally between 150th Drive. On the northwest side of Bullard, on the northwest side is Bullard Wash, and on the southwest side is Bullard Wash. So 150th on the northwest, Bullard Wash on the southwest. On the eastern side, it is just west of the Bullard Avenue hotels, and it is just west of Bullard Avenue, south of Encanto Boulevard on the north end, and Interstate 10 on the south end. And for those of you listening at home, it is broadly just south of Rio Paseo, just west of Palm Valley Phase 2, and just east of our Civic Square right here. As it relates to the general plan land use, the project falls within the business and commerce area. The project is also within the transit-oriented development overlay, as well as the heart of the village center overlay. Business and commerce allows for a mix of high-density residential, retail, commercial, and employment opportunities, and the Village Center overlay and transit-oriented development overlays encourage walkability and a higher intensity and density of uses. The project is located on both sides here, again with the star. For a brief history on the property, Goodyear Plan Regional Center is a large development which now contains multiple components. The area was initially zoned as part of the Goodyear Plan Regional Center, PAD, with commercial uses and residential uses back in 2000. Fun fact, that was more than 23 years ago. And in 2001, there were amendments to the residential portions of the development. In 2006, there was an amendment to add the south area, south of McDowell, as mixed use to this PAD. In 2017, there were additional modifications to residential uses. In 2019, the Civic Square at Estrella Falls PAD was approved, and that is right here. And in 2020, there was a zoning change that allowed for the district at Civic Square to be developed right there on Monte Vista. Today, this proposal seeks to further amend and create more mixed uses within this development in the overall regional center, which is 152 acres. And I'll highlight some of those proposed changes on the next slide. Here's our regional center today. All right. So this 152-acre site will be a singular cohesive PAD. The development and the PAD contain all the permitted uses in the land areas, the development standards, the design guidelines, the landscape standards, and all lighting regulations which will be developed and governed by this document. And stipulations in the ordinance also are applicable to this. On the next couple of pages, or the slides, I'll illustrate some of those changes. All right. So a detailed table of the permitted uses included in the GSQ PAD and a visual depiction of this is included in your council packet. But Land Area A is acting as a transition between the existing Rio Paseo residential uses to the north into this residential and commercial development on the south side of Encanto Boulevard. So that's District A. In a district of multifamily and single-family attached residential or townhomes, the uses in this category include commercial uses such as self-storage buildings, offices, banks, schools, surgery centers, hotels, restaurants, and bars. Now I'm going to skip to land areas B and D. I'm purposely skipping C, and we'll go back to that in a minute. But this allows for a higher density and concentration of retail and residential uses. As the district transitions towards Goodyear Way, which is in the middle, I've purposely skipped that in C. The intent is to allow for vertical mix of uses and encourage taller buildings to be constructed. However, the PAD does not require this to occur, and one single-story standalone buildings would be permitted. In addition to multifamily, other uses permitted in land use area B include car washes limited to one, which we will discuss a little bit further as there have been some changes. Gas stations, only one within the entire PAD, but could be located in land areas B. Auto sales, hotels, bars, microbreweries, entertainment venues, restaurants with drive-throughs limited to a combined total of 2 within land areas B and E. Offices, banks, schools, surgery centers, and veterinary hospitals. Land area D, which is right here, functions very similar to land area B and acts as more of a transition from the core of the GSQ PAD to the big box-oriented portions of the overall development in land area E, which we'll talk about in a bit. Skipping back up to C, this is the core of the center of GSQ development. Goodyear Way runs adjacent to and through this land area, so this is us over here at Civic Square, and Goodyear Way will continue all the way through the PAD to Bullard Avenue. The PAD intends for buildings and active open spaces to front Goodyear Way. The PAD would allow for single-story and standalone single-use buildings or shops buildings to be constructed. The development pattern allows for land area C to be developed in a variety of non-residential uses, which include offices, banks, restaurants, bars, microbreweries, and entertainment establishments, all within that land area C. Moving down to land area E, which is close to McDowell Road, but north of McDowell Road, this is focused more on retail and big box retail, similar to the existing shopping centers that you find along McDowell and Pebble Creek Parkway. Land area B can be developed with a variety of non-residential uses, which could include auto sales, gas stations, again, one for the entire PAD property, and car washes if accessory to a gas station. Offices, banks, surgery centers, restaurants with drive-throughs limited to 2 in the entire PAD, but also unlimited multi-tenant end cap drive-throughs, bars, microbreweries, and entertainment establishments. That's land area category E. And the last of the 6 categories is land area F. It is for the development of automotive dealerships, auto services, and/or development in a similar manner to category C, which is that big box area. Land area F can be developed with, a variety of non-residential uses, which could also include tire repair, oil and lube shops, hospitals, bars, microbreweries, that gas station I referred to earlier, car wash. We'll talk about that in some proposals here in a bit. And also accessory uses, accessory to those gas stations, also colleges, banks, schools, offices, restaurants, that one standalone drive-through in this area, and unlimited multi-tenant end cap drive-throughs as well as hotel. All right, let's quickly go over some highlights of the development standards, and I'll be brief with this, but if you have any specific questions, don't hesitate to ask at the conclusion of the presentation. So the maximum building height for all the developments within land area A, which is for both multifamily and commercial, it's acting as a transition from Rio Paseo to the core. That max would be 60 feet. Land area A is specifically limited in height in order to, again, act as that transition from the higher density residential in Rio Paseo to the core of the PAD. There are minimum building heights throughout the PAD, largely to frame the development along Goodyear Way and the cores of land areas B and D. So there are some minimum heights here to give it that, to make it feel like a sense of place, have some scale, feel more like a regional sense of destination. The maximum heights allowed under the GSQ PAD are substantially greater in land areas B, C, D, and E, and that allows for heights of up to 200 feet. There are no maximum densities. However, densities will inherently be achieved because of the needs for drainage, open space, parking requirements, and things of that nature. Setbacks are measured from the public street rights-of-way along the perimeter boundaries of the property and along existing public streets within the PAD. Along the rights-of-way of any newly created public streets within F, and if residential lots are platted within A, the setbacks are actually measured from the front of those lots. But in reading the zoning, you will see that the intent is to buffer the residential to the north from this development and the more intense uses that will occur in the middle of the PAD. Open space, I will highlight that in land areas A, there's a minimum of 15% for each of the developments built within it that are single family, 5% open space for multifamily, and 5% of the net lot area, or 5% of the overall for commercial. Patios for multifamily will be 40 square feet with the minimum depth of 5. That's very similar to our ballpark and other more mixed-use developments within Goodyear. And the parking requirements under the GSQ PAD have been reduced. The developer desires to produce a mixed-use walkable destination, so those parking counts could further be reduced through some third-party traffic studies. All right. The development shall have an additional step following this rezoning if it is approved, and that will be the same step that created this Civic Square at Estrella Falls, PAD, and the development that you see here today. To ensure that all individual development components are high quality and designed in a people-first manner, the details such as the street furniture, the street lighting, the landscape standards, the hardscape standards, the pavers, the open space, and those similar types of elements will be required to be completed before the approval of any site plans. So they'll go through the staff-approved street cross-sections and supplemental design guideline criteria that will be administratively approved before developments will be approved in the site plan process. And the PAD intends to provide connectivities for pedestrians and bicyclists, as well as vehicles. So the development shall provide a pedestrian and bike path facilitating north-south and east-west connectivity. A primary pedestrian corridor is going to be established along the north side of Goodyear Way, which will include bike paths and things of that nature throughout the middle of the development, as well as an art trail that will be established on Goodyear Way between 150th Drive here near Civic Square and Bullard Avenue at Goodyear Way. And the design elements of those trails will again be established in the street cross sections and supplemental design guidelines, which will be the next step if this zoning's approved. There will also be an enhanced intersection with an enhanced crosswalk that shall be detailed and established at Goodyear Way and 150th so that the two developments feel cohesive, walkable, and encourage residents to go between the two, as that is intended to be the future portion of the downtown of Goodyear. All right. And to date, the city has not received any resident opposition to the case, only general calls and inquiries. At the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, one resident did have questions about the streetscape and the sidewalk widths and things of that nature. Again, those details will be administered in the streetscape and supplemental design guidelines. That's how those will be addressed. Staff has evaluated the impact of this proposed zoning with the greater community, and with no major concerns being found, staff is recommending that you approve the rezoning to the PAD for GSQ Regional Center. With the 6 land use areas, the uses and regulations, and subject to the staff stipulations that you found in your report. I'll talk quickly about traffic, and then I'm going to ask for potentially one modification. So as a note, 150th Drive, which separates us and the remainder of the regional site, Virginia/Encanto, which is on the north, Bullard on the west, and McDowell on the south, Bullard on the east and McDowell on the south, have all been fully built out around the site, and all the signals have been installed. However, there is one signal that has not been activated because it goes into the farm field. So those have been improved and built out contingent upon a 1 million+ square foot regional shopping center or mall being built. So it is contemplated in the initial traffic studies that this development would not exceed the requirements of a 1+ million square foot regional center. However, as this does progress through the process in the site plan, there are stipulations about reevaluating traffic and seeing if any additional warrants are triggered by things such as Goodyear Way going through the site and not having a mall ring road, if that makes sense. I would ask that if you do approve this zoning, that there be a change made to the PAD document, specifically on page 5. The request would be that under the car wash section, that these following changes would occur. 1, the GSQ PAD use table on page 5 on the line for car wash for land area F, that's the land area south of McDowell, shall be revised to read PC5. Under table note 5, the following shall occur at your discretion. The third bullet shall read, car wash shall be located at least 300 feet from a residential zoning district or residential development and at least 300 feet away from a hotel and shall be located at least 150 feet away from the patio of any restaurant and shall not require a use permit. The fourth bullet shall read, car wash shall be located adjacent to an arterial street, but the car wash building shall not be located closer than 300 feet from an arterial to arterial intersection and shall not be located closer than 300 feet to McDowell Road. And the sixth table note shall say not applicable. The essence of that is there would be no standalone car washes allowed within the PAD. And with that, happy to answer any zoning-related questions you might have.
Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Any in the audience like to speak at this time?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Ed Bull, 1850 North Central. I think everyone knows George Getz, Mike Olson, Scott Wagner, Allie Bull, and myself. I compliment staff on their thorough analysis and their written staff report and nimbly working today on the added criteria for accessory car washes. We accept those changes. If you have any easy questions, I'll do my best to field them. If you have any hard questions, I'm going to drag Allie up here and, kind of baptize her by fire.
Yeah, I can see the look on her face right
Yeah.
there.
But, you have to you pay the piper if you're, happen to
I
be in the
understand.
family. But if you're good, we're good. But it's been a pleasure to work with your staff and your council on getting here. Reading staff's report and hearing Christian tonight, believe it or not, on Valentine's Day, 23 years ago, I was here, not in this building, but talking about this site. So things have kind of come full circle. And personally, you may or may not agree, personally, I believe the city of Goodyear is much better off that we don't have empty boxes standing on that site. This will be a wonderful, exciting, as staff says, people-first development, and we're very honored to play a little role in helping get it this far.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Thank
We'll
you.
see if we can have any other questions after, okay? And we'll get it to your daughter, all right? All right, with that, we'll close the public hearing. Will the city clerk please read Resolution 2023-2278 by title only?
Adopt resolution number 2023-2278, declaring as public records those certain documents referred to and incorporated by reference in ordinance number 2023-1561, filed with the city clerk related to the rezoning case for GSQ Regional Center.
All right, I have, with the council, please enter a motion and a second to adopt the resolution 2023-2278. I see. Yes.
Mayor, the motion, does it include these changes, or since we're doing this electronically, I can't just say?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, yeah, you're going to need to amend your motion when you speak it to incorporate the items that Christian referred to. Not on this item, it'll be on the next item.
On the next item,
Yep.
okay.
Well, thank you. All right, with that, I see a first and a second. So open for discussion, and I see that's already lighting up here, right? We good?
To clarify the fourth bullet.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that too.
Yours is,
Yeah.
yours is stuck? All right, well, I'll go ahead and start with Councilmember Hampton. You're first up.
Yeah, Christian, I just wanted to make sure that we were talking 300 feet, not 3,300 feet.
You're right, that was me rushing to type.
Okay,
300 feet.
on the car wash. Okay, and I don't know if I can remind me or not. You know how far away that car wash was off of Bullard that we decided not to approve from the hotels?
It was effectively immediately adjacent to McDowell Road.
Was it 300 feet from the hotel?
Oh, yeah. It was more than 300 from the.
It likely was more than 300 from the tunnel opening. If I may go to the map real quick, I'll point
I'm just
out.
trying to get a
That-
frame of reference to what this would look like, that's all.
That car wash would have been roughly here.
I can't see.
What is here?
Oh, can you see the arrow?
We can now.
Oh, I apologize. If you see the northernmost Bullard Avenue Hotel, it was that lot just north of the hotel.
And how many feet? Roughly.
He'll measure it. Give me a second, I'll measure it for you. Thank you, Mr.
I'm just
Baker.
trying to get a rough idea of what it looks like if we, what that would feel like, what that would look like, and what the, I know they had a lot of sound contour questions.
Roughly a football field is 300.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that if we do put a car wash in there, I do like that it's with the, a like use or with a gas station use. And I guess my fear is that, I just want to make sure that people can, because we had some bad examples where a car wash is exactly right next to a hotel, and that's not great for the hotel and the people using the hotel. And I know we didn't want car washes near restaurants, because we want to make sure people enjoy that. So I just want to make sure that this is appropriate distance.
And I
to
believe
be
we
able-
have an
Be able
answer
to
now
not
on this.
negatively affect the wherever it might end up be, if it even does come at all, so.
You got somebody up, go ahead.
The previous car wash that council, that council denied is approximately 200 to 250 feet, somewhere in that range, from the outside wall of the northernmost hotel.
Okay, so even farther, okay. I'm sure you guys came up with a number for a reason, so I was just curious what the baseline was of that, so, okay. That's what I was curious about. Other than that, I know staff and the team have worked hard to get us to this point, so I'm excited to approve this and move forward with developing this area for the city. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Campbell?
Okay, my question is, I have a couple of questions. You can answer these, Christopher, I'm sure. Christian, if I understood right, we're only allowed one gas station if we decided to put it in that area, not us, the developer.
Yes.
Right? And only one car wash.
Yes, if
And
you
only
approve
one
those
drive-through.
changes. No, the drive-throughs would be 2 allowed. Let me go to the
Would
table.
it be the drive-through allowed in A and E or B and E?
There would be 2 drive-throughs allowed in this area that are standalone.
That's in E.
Hold it. It's EDCB.
Oh, so we could have a drive-through in every single one of them?
No, it's a combined total. So if you think about it this way, north of McDowell, 2 standalones, south of McDowell, 1 standalone, and then unlimited end-cap drive-throughs.
What's that mean?
So let's say a good example of that would be the Dunkin' Donuts on Estrella Parkway, where it's attached to a multi-tenant suite. That would be the example of an end-cap drive-through. It's a drive-through attached to buildings, and there are multiple suites attached.
It's not a standalone drive-through?
Correct.
Okay, great. Okay, and then in C, you said we could have single-story and non-residential.
Correct.
So I'm assuming we could have retail in the bottom, houses in the top?
Not in C. C is
Not
all
in C.
non-residential.
Okay, so where can we have that?
You could have that in B and D.
B and E?
B and D.
Well, we don't necessarily want too much in B for the height because we've got all the houses in A. That's Rio Paseo.
Rio Paseo is north of A.
Well, oh, it's even further north than the A.
Yes, A is the transition zone that protects Rio Paseo.
Well, what's going to be in there?
That could be residential or commercial.
1 story?
It could go up to 60 feet in height.
That's 3 story.
Could be up to 5 or 6.
5 or 6?
However, if you think about the projects that are being built just north of that, those are
Those are the apartments.
correct.
Yeah.
And then north of that in Rio Paseo, you have your higher density residential in Rio Paseo.
Right.
So you already have the 3-story elements there.
Okay. Well, it's exciting, and it sounds like it's being very well thought of, and it's going to give us a nice variety. And we're tired of looking at the dirt. So I'm a yes. Thank you.
Councilmember Stipp.
My previous questions had been answered, but I did want to take a minute to thank the staff, Globe Corporation, and even Mr. Bull for your effort. You just work here. But seriously, I did want to thank everybody for their effort. We have been, I think it was 18 months ago that we extended the development agreement, that we've been working on this. Even, I shouldn't say even legal, but Rorick's office has put a lot of effort into this. And for the community, this has been a long time coming, and we're very excited about what this development is going to bring for us and what it's going to do for us as a community. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody.
Vice Mayor.
It's very exciting to unveil this plan to the public after our time of small group meetings. And when you look at the allowable uses, I mean, the future is, the possibilities are endless. Globe has promised a high-end, vibrant development, and that's definitely what they're bringing in. Appreciate the work that you, staff, have done, and certainly Globe Corporation with their developer. I'm very supportive of the additional modifications, and hope that we will incorporate those, and thank you for your work.
Councilmember Loretano.
I again want to thank staff. Thank you, Christian, for all your hard work, and Christopher and everybody in the staff. And Allie, you did a great job. And Ed, you did good too. And Globe Corporation as well, because I think this is a very good plan. I like all the densities, and I like the height, and I like the ability that it has enough structure, but not so much structure we're locking people in, and so it can be built appropriately, and we have options for different uses. I am not good at picturing mass, so could you just help me out with how many stories is 60 feet?
60 feet.
Stories.
Oh,
6.
6 stories?
60 feet is about 4 to 6 stories.
Okay.
If you have luxury ceilings, it's probably going to look more like 4 once you get to parapets.
Like all the elements and stuff?
Yep.
So how about, you said 200 feet was the other one?
That's approximately 15 stories to 18 stories.
Okay,
in
so
reality.
those would be much taller buildings.
Think Westgate, what's going on in Westgate, that's where you're getting closer to that.
Thank you. I just needed some help visualizing that for the size, but I think it's a great plan, and I hope to see that density, and I like the height, so thank you, thank you.
Councilmember Gillis?
Christian and everybody involved, thanks for getting this going. I am so excited about this project. Globe and Ed and Allie, Mike, everybody involved. I'm super excited. Citizens are going to be super excited. This is what they wanted to see for a very long time. So good job.
The only thing I'd like to add is we've been working with this, George and Mike for a long time, and the vision of building a downtown area from scratch. I mean, what a great opportunity, and a legacy that, most times when you come in, it's already there, and we're building it from scratch, and we're looking to have something that's walkable. So not only the residents that live around the area can go and eat, have some entertainment, take a bike ride, take a walk, come visit us at the park when we're having various events there. So, yeah, I'm real excited because we've been looking at this, I know since 2009, since I've been on council, when we were looking at something else on that site. We've been trying the best to try to figure out what to do with there to get that synergy going and to build that, and I think we've got the plan now in place. So thank you all, and I appreciate everything you've been working to get this thing there. So no hard questions for Ally, I guess, right? Okay, she's got the thumbs up. All right, there's no further discussion. Will you open the voting?
Does this include the modification?
No, that's the next group.
Okay, thank you.
Now, how does this work for the next one? You'll read the ordinance, and then when the we go through, the actual motion, somebody's got to read all of this as well?
I'm going to read the ordinance, and then I'll change what's on the screen to say with noted changes.
Perfect. Which will be these changes?
Yes.
Corrected to 300 feet instead of 3,300.
Yeah, we've got that, and we'll make sure that the final documents, we'll work with Christian tomorrow to make sure that we have it.
Okay. So that'll be handled when you say that after you read it, right? Okay.
As soon as you
Okay.
tell what the result was, we're going to hit next on this.
Okay. 7, passes 7-0. All right, and with that, clerk, will you please read the ordinance number 2023-1561 by title only?
Adopt ordinance number 2023-1561, conditionally rezoning approximately 152 acres of property located west of Bullard Avenue along McDowell Road to be known as GSQ Regional Center, amending the zoning map of the city of Goodyear, providing for non-abridgment, providing for corrections, providing for severability, providing for an effective date, providing for penalties, and directing the city clerk to record a copy of this ordinance.
Will the council please, okay, so we have, did you make the change on there, or?
Yeah, it should say it on your screen now. It should say adopt.
Okay, with changes, I see it. Okay, thank you. Will the city council please enter a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 2023-1561? I've got the motion and a second.
Not yet.
So go ahead and open up the voting.
Yeah, that's why it's like, don't even hover over it.
Passes 7-0. Thank you, guys. We're looking forward to a great project here in Goodyear. Thank you. All right, with that, we go to business now. I would like to remind council to wait for a motion and a second before discussing. First item of the business, consider approving the Fifth Amendment to the development agreement with RG Land Partners, LLC. Go ahead and introduce yourself there, Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Rorik Massey, I'm the city attorney. This evening, we'll be presenting the Fifth Amendment to the development agreement that is the subject of the site you just approved in the previous action. This is an amendment of the original 2006 agreement that was with the Westcor Company for a regional mall. For various legal reasons, it made a lot of sense just to proceed with an amendment to that original agreement since it was already in place and encumbering the land and ran through 2055. But working through the project and the reimagined project, we arrived at an agreement following negotiations with RG Land Partners, which is the Globe and Red Development Company, to put together a partnership with the city that recognizes an investment into the public infrastructure of the site to support this reimagined site. So with that, I will walk through some of the terms at a high level and be open for any questions you may have regarding the agreement. I do appreciate the conversations we had with George, Mike, and Scott. I think this is the fourth agreement we've negotiated, so we're getting pretty good at it. Hopefully there'll be many more as the project continues. But the agreement, the Fifth Amendment you have in front of you is kind of a reimagined development agreement. There are 4 extensions. Previously, the first, second, third amendments, those are really just extensions of the original development plan and the public investment in the project. This kind of is a completely different structure of the agreement. The focus of the agreement is public investment into the public infrastructure needed for the site, changing it from a retail mall with a ring road to a more urban, dense development project with a lot more roads running through the site, kind of necessitated a different type of agreement. So basically, it is a public infrastructure reimbursement agreement with various terms and mechanisms for reimbursement to the developer for public infrastructure and public access that they are building into their project. The total reimbursement the city will make towards the public infrastructure in the site does total $30 million. That is for roadways and ancillary development related to those roadways throughout the project. The first section of infrastructure will be Goodyear Way, as it was discussed in the previous presentation by Christopher, kind of a unique spine road throughout the project of commercial development throughout the project. The developer needs to design and start that roadway by April 1st of 2024 and complete it by April 1st of 2025. So that's going to kickstart the project pretty quickly. And that was the goal of the project, is to offer incentives to get the project moving as quickly as possible. The developer will then move on to different roadways. Monte Vista is another major infrastructure improvement they'll make in the project. That will be developed as the market dictates, and then there'll be other roadways constructed throughout the project that will all be eligible for reimbursement out of that $30 million. That goes as far as the developer can stretch it towards public infrastructure, but certainly looking at their estimates of the cost of developing those roadways versus our own internal estimates, it looks like there's some value engineering in their development of the project that's going to let that dollar stretch a little bit farther than if the city had gone in and constructed those roadways ourselves. The first $15 million will be reimbursed on a draw basis. That is, as they develop the project, they'll submit draw requests to the city, and the city will reimburse those draw requests within 30 days. So that is pretty quick reimbursement to the developer as the project moves along. The next $15 million will be a sales tax reimbursement following the completion of what we're already obligated for improvement district reimbursements on this site. There was an improvement district created shortly after the 2006 agreement that constructed Bullard Wash, McDowell Road, Bullard Road, Pebble Creek Parkway, all of the baseline infrastructure that was needed for the development of the site. That was reimbursable under the original agreement from sales taxes being developed or generated on the site in the surrounding retail. We anticipate that those reimbursements will end in the next 6 to 7 years. At that point, the next $15 million of reimbursements will be generated and reimbursed to the developer at 50% sales tax reimbursement. So as sales taxes are generated on the site, they'll be reimbursed back to the developer. There is an interest component, since the developer will be carrying those costs for the next 6 to 7 years. It's 4% interest. That's about what the market is for public financing at this time. Doug was very comfortable with that number. The developer's carrying cost is probably double that, so they are getting at least a portion of the interest of their carrying costs during the time they're carrying that additional $15 million. As additional incentive to get the project moving along quicker, we've agreed that we'll reimburse 50% of construction sales taxes to go towards that $15 million for non-residential uses. So commercial, and other uses that the developer constructs on the site, those construction sales taxes will be immediately available to be reimbursed towards the city, towards the developer to reduce those carrying costs on that additional $15 million. Additional terms, also to incentivize moving on the project as quickly as possible. The city has agreed to waive 50% of the permit and plan review fees on this site for the first 7 years of the project. So the idea is to kickstart the development of the project, so offer additional incentives to the developer to get moving on the project. So that's built into the agreement as well. And the final financial term is there are $1.7 million that were prepaid for development fees and permit fees from the previous developer that lapsed because of non-performance. If Globe and Red sign and locate a 30,000 square foot specialty grocer, entertainment user, or upscale retailer on the site, we're going to reinstitute those fees for their use towards permit and plan review fees on the site to get those users that our citizens have identified that they'd like to see on the site. So additional incentive to go out and get those types of users. Those are the financial terms. The agreement runs through the 2055. It seems like a long time, but that is the term of the original agreement. So we're just marrying up and making sure we're all in alignment with that 2006 agreement. And with that, I'll answer any questions the council may have.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
In the audience right now? All right, well, City Clerk, let's see, City Clerk enter a motion, council enter a motion and a second to approve, authorize city manager to execute the Fifth Amendment of the development agreement with Archery Land Partners, LLC. I see a motion and a second. Go ahead and open it for discussion. You've done that, and I see Councilmember Campbell is first up.
I have just one question, Rourke. I want to be sure that the developer and the city is on the same page about the cost of them doing a road. And if they've estimated it, I want to know that we have said that's what it will cost and not come back to the developer later and say, we have more standards that you haven't done. Because I want to be very fair to the developer. He's gone out of his way to do what he's doing, so I want to protect them as well.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. I can't speak to their side of it, but I have seen that their plans and their estimates as far as what they believe the cost of those roadways are going to be. I've seen what our estimates were for Goodyear Way. They were different. Ours were more, but they feel like they can do it at a certain amount. That being said, if you look at their total cost estimates, it's about $41 million for just the roadway and the associated costs. And of that, $30 million is going to be reimbursed back to them. Sure. So they are sharing in the cost and the investment in that public infrastructure, and that is how the deal is constructed.
Well, I was asking that because you're aware of a conversation that I've been involved in a couple of months ago where a developer built the road and he underestimated the cost of the road because our requirements were higher than what his engineer told him he could build, and there was a huge difference, and we didn't reimburse him for that. I just don't want Globe to go through that. Okay. I want a level playing field for all of us.
Well, at least from the city's perspective, I believe we're in alignment. I don't know if
Okay.
we're in alignment.
That's
Thank
all
you.
I want to know. Thank you.
I don't see anything else, but I just got a quick question. When do we expect the road to go from Civic Square all the way to Bullard, that main one going through the center? When do we expect that to probably be completed?
So that is Goodyear Way, and under the terms of the agreement, the design and construction has to start by April 1st, 2024.
That's
has
next
to be
year, right.
complete by April 1st, 2025. So that is the number one priority as far as the infrastructure deal.
Okay, so we're looking at about 2 years for that road.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't see anything else on here. Can you open up the voting? Passes 7-0. Looking forward to it, guys. All right, next item on the business, consider approving an expenditure up to $6,154,200 for project number 3008, renovation of Fire Station 183. Please go ahead and introduce yourself, please, Mario.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Mario Saldamando, Senior Project Manager. And I'm joined here by Deputy Chief Paul from the Goodyear Fire Department. We're here tonight to present total expenditure for the construction of Fire Station 183. The building was constructed in 1988 and has been basically used. I'm sorry? It was completed in 2000? Yeah. What did I say? Oh, okay. It was started constructing. Okay, as built, say 88. Anyway, so 98. So other users have been in the building. The Parks Department was there. The Police Department had a presence as well. So the city has grown. Other facilities have come online. The building is due for replacements of mechanical and electrical. The project also includes tenant improvements to add dormitories and offices to meet the current needs. So the project is related to the fiscal management focus area that the city has. It's programmed in the 23 CIP for construction. It is based on the assessment through the operational research health study, and the upgrades will be very similar to the recent stations that have come online. The budget is $6.1 million. The components are broken out, design, construction, and FF&E. The timeline to construct, it starts in March of this year and is scheduled to be completed in the fall of '23. We're here tonight to recommend approval of the expenditure authority in the amount of $6,154,200. And take any questions that you may have.
Any speaker cards?
No, Mayor.
Anybody in the audience like to speak? Seeing none, would the council please enter a motion in a second to approve expenditure of the funds up to $6,154,200 to renovate Fire Station 183? Let's see, I see a motion and a second on the board. Open up for discussion. See no discussion. Open up the voting. Passes 7-0. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, does the council have any comments or commendations or reports on current events or requests for future items? Nothing? No. We good? Well, only thing I want to say is we had last week an opportunity at our mayor's dinner to invite the governor to the dinner, and it was very, very successful. We started building some, I guess, networking or some type of relationship with the governor in her office, and explained to her how important some of these bills that are going down there that aren't very friendly to us, how local control is very important, and how local control pays for a variety of services, you know, especially our general fund for police, fire, road, streets, et cetera. And it was very, very successful to the extent that one of the bills that we've been trying to kill, the residential rental, was vetoed the next day. So that's good. We got another one running through right now that I'm hoping gets killed, the food. Maybe it doesn't even get through. But I think we're starting to build a little bit of a relationship with the governor's office. I'm hoping that's our stopgap, to be honest with you. So that was very, very helpful there on Wednesday. And very pleased on how that went. Was down there and also testified on our $10 million. Thank Senator Hernandez, Brian. He put that in. It's interesting. He's a Democratic senator, and it got through the committee 9-1. So I'm hoping that $10 million for Estrella Bridge finds its way successfully through the system. That would be really nice. But I feel a little better that it went 9-1 through the actual committee there. So that felt really good, some of those accomplishments, last week. But unfortunately, it's an uphill battle, and we're not done fighting, right, Jenna? It's going to keep fighting on. So we got that kind of going for us. So anything else? With that, does the manager have anything to report?
Yes, Mayor, I do. This weekend was the opening day for spring training on Saturday. It was a gorgeous day for the opening day. Amazing national anthem performed by Stephen Powell, U.S. Navy retired, and colors presented by Luke Air Force Base Honor Guard. Thank you to Mayor and Council for participating in the pregame ceremony and welcoming fans to the 2023 season. Gorgeous day on Saturday. The weather cooled off a little bit on Sunday. No rain, but it was a great day for kids to run the bases after the game with 150 kids participating.
Whoa.
Total attendance for the weekend was just under 8,000. An opening day pregame lineup post on social media was most popular post to date, receiving more than 2,000 reactions, 133 comments, and 110 shares. And
Whoa.
Games continue every day through March 26. We also had another busy weekend, Theater in the Park on Saturday, February 25th. The City of Goodyear hosted Theater in the Park at Goodyear Civic Square. This year's annual performance had 400 attendees to experience the feel-good classic of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Directed by William Rogers with the Bridge Initiative, the professional cast from Mesa Encore Theater put on an amazing family-friendly performance in Goodyear. There were food trucks on site, and it was free to the public.
How's that pitching arm? It's okay?
It's great.
Okay.
Just call me One Bounce.
That's right. Councilmember Gillis, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I wanted to thank Mayor Pizzillo and all the mayors around the different cities that did go on behalf of checking out what was going on with the governor, because I think that was something that we were all really nervous about. And we've still got one to go. Hopefully that's not going to go anywhere, but we can't afford it out of our general fund. And I, for one, am very, very thankful to all of you for working really hard on that, so we don't have to worry about where we're going to get it to take care of our first responders and our roads and everything else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next meeting will be a work session, followed by the regular meeting on March 6th. Don't go anywhere at 5 p.m. because I have a big note here. Don't adjourn yet. You aren't done, all right? So with that being said, we have 2 items for discussion in an executive session. A vote may be held to call an executive session for the following reasons. Pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A34, discussion and consultation with the city attorney for legal advice to consider the position and instruct its attorney regarding the city's position regarding contracts that are subject of negotiations related to a development agreement with Globe Corporation, related to a parking agreement structure for the GSQ2 projects, and pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A34 and 5, discussion and consultation for legal advice with the city attorney and city manager to consider the position and instruct its representative regarding contracts subject to negotiation, and to consider its position and instruct the representatives regarding negotiation with employee organizations regarding salaries, salary structure, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of employees of public body regarding the meet and confer discussion process with fire and police labor representatives. Can I have a motion, a second, go into executive session? I have a motion and a second. You can open up the voting. 7-0 will convene into executive session. Upstairs we shall go.